now moment, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with you as always. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here. And we just ask that you bring an open mind and an open heart to your listening experience. And to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality. While listening, you will be exposed to inspiring, empowering, and unifying perspectives that I'm highly confident will yield stellar results in your life if you opt to try them on for size. Also, if you're a longtime P-Head listener, you know I have been diligently working on producing episodes for my new late-night style, consciousness-elevating video talk show, Optimistic. Well, after a year plus in the making, I am thrilled to announce that we will be releasing Season 1's episodes weekly beginning March 15th, and I'm asking for your help to spread the love and to let your friends and family know about Optimistic when it's released. In exchange for taking a minute to share our Episode 1 teaser video on March 15th, or whenever you're hearing this, up through the end of April, we're giving you monthly memberships to not one, but two consciousness-expansive online content portals from two of my very favorite teachers and healers that are valued at over $50 a month, as well as entering your name into a drawing to win a free week at the Mystic Manor for a retreat immersion valued at $2,950, where the winner will be chosen in April. Otherwise, if you're interested in hearing more details about the rewards you'll receive for supporting, we'll send you a video that goes into detail when you text the word Mystic to the number 22999. You can also go to optimistic.tv to see several other videos, including the Optimistic show trailer and two videos that discuss the week-long retreat immersion, as well as details of what the Mystic Manor immersion entails and how you can book a week to come stay with us, even if you don't win the raffle. All right, all you positive heads, welcome, welcome. Here we grow again. It is a magical Monday in the studio, and I am ecstatic to say I am not alone. I have my dear friend, Sonya Sophia, with me here yet again. Sonya, hello. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Brandon. Thank you for having me back.
Oh, it's always my pleasure to have you back. I'm pretty sure you've been the longest running, most co-hostess with the mostess on the show up to this point.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you. It has been such a pleasure, and I'm curious to hear what you have up your sleeve today, what you're feeling. You know, in case you guys are wondering, whenever Sonya and I do this, I always am like, okay, what's feeling most alive and exciting for you to talk about right now, Sonya? And then you normally, without fail, have something. And then that sort of helps to dictate the direction that we actually go. What are you thinking today is pertinent to discuss and share about?
I want to talk about the power of processing and how important it is to establish a self-care ritual, especially right now. There's so much pain and fear going on in the world, and it can be really overwhelming. So other than listening to positive music and, you know, passing on positive memes and encouraging each other, if you can bring yourself to go to the next level and actually create a little golden circle around your self-care time and go inward and start excavating the accumulated stress and trauma that all of us have. I mean, think about it. I think everybody that you know probably has some form of PTSD from something. It's, you know, not just soldiers and veterans, right. You know, it's the experience of living on a planet right now with all of these things shifting and changing. There's so much going on politically and environmentally and emotionally for everybody and financially that we tend to want to just, you know, run to where the happy is, which is good, but it doesn't serve us long term because that happy wears off. You know, sometimes I'll do some shopping or something and it feels good. And then a day later, it's like, oh, I'm not happy still about that purchase. It doesn't last. But what does last is when you get in there and you start processing this stuff out. And that's what builds emotional resiliency. And that's actually what funds your inner reserves of joy. So when you're dealing with a lot of stress and fear and pain in the world, you actually need copious amounts of joy and pleasure and peace, which is the antidote for that. And, this younger generation has been a little bit shortchanged. They've, been handed a world that's a pretty hard place to be and not really given time in school and information at home about how to build their inner resources of joy, which it's like having a pantry full of like beautiful, sacred, nutritious food that if things are weird out there, you can just stay at home and like feed yourself from this cultivated resource. And I want to talk about that and encourage people to really fill up that pantry of peace so that they have these beautiful, deep inner reserves so that they can go the distance and feel like life is really worth living.
Right. Yeah, that definitely comes in handy when you find yourself here to want to actually be here, right? And
right.
I think a huge part of it is once you can at least come to terms with it's not just supposed to be all rainbows and butterflies, and it's meant to be, challenging and trying, and growth is not always easy, but it's worth it, right?
It's worth it because if we didn't have things that challenged us and made us struggle and made us doubt ourselves, we would never grow strength and aptitude, and resiliency. And I think a lot about that butterfly situation that we've probably all heard of where, somebody sees a butterfly struggling to get out of a chrysalis and they gently kind of cut open the chrysalis and help the butterfly out. And because the butterfly didn't go through the struggle, it doesn't pump its wings sufficiently to push the blood through the veins so that the wings can actually be big and strong. So some of that struggle is really necessary.
Oh, wow.
And I don't think we have any...
I've never heard that.
Oh, really? Yeah. I don't think we have any
Wow.
shortage on struggle. It's really about where do you get your support and what funds it long term. And when we don't fund it, we run to food. I know a lot of people eat when they feel stressed. That has been a challenge for me. I'm on the other side of it now. I'm very happy to say I've dropped 40 pounds in the last 13 months.
Woo! Wow. Congratulations. That is amazing.
Thank you. The benefits of intermittent fasting, y'all, just like a quick tip if you are feeding your feelings, check out a book called Delay, Don't Deny. That's been a really life-changing book for me, and there's a Facebook support group in there too. But back to this, it's so much of what's driving us to look for joy outside of our own internal reserves are conversations that didn't go well, deep things that happened to us when we were kids that we didn't know what to do with, and we just sort of tried to forget and move on. And when you take the time to go in and clean that stuff out, you're creating new neural networks in your brain, and you're feeding your body with new information. And that new information gives you emotional resiliency. And every time you go in and process that stuff and lay down a new track, you're creating a new inroad in your brain. You're literally rewiring your brain and your body and reducing cortisol, which is a chemical that your body produces when it's under stress, which is the precursor to almost every disease. So if you want to stay healthy, you want to sleep better, you want to feel less anxious or nervous or depressed, you want to get in there and finish those unfinished pieces of business and process these deep-seated fears and deal with the darkness that we all have until we do our housekeeping. And when you do that, the great news is it increases your oxytocin, the love hormone. I've talked about this before on here. It's the same chemical in your body that releases when you have an orgasm. It releases when you hug, when you sing, when you dance, when you do EFT tapping, which we're going to do some more. And when you process these things, it also increases your dopamine and your serotonin, which are all neurotransmitters that you need to actually feel joy, feel motivated, feel inspired, stay on track, stay on point, open your heart, be creative, trust. Oxytocin also is the trust hormone. So if you have a hard time trusting, then you have a hard time loving, and that means you feel more isolated. You tend to, push people away. So if you want to feel more trusting and more connected, you want to increase your oxytocin, and tapping is a great way to do that. Dancing is a great way to do that. cuddling,
Yeah.
petting dogs, hanging out with kids, eye contact, being out in nature. But, I'm going to keep recommending tapping because you're going to get so much from dealing with those things. And once you've really dealt with them, they don't come back. It's not like your childhood comes back after you clean it out. It's like if you cleaned out your
Right.
basement, it's not going to like get dirty overnight. You're going to go down and it's still going to be clean and you can do new things in that room.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. And it's sort of like, I always think back to what it was like to have homework as a kid. You would dread doing your homework. And then after you did your homework, you felt so good to have it put behind you. And if you ever just like charged it head on and just kind of got it out of the way, then it was like, then you could really like enjoy the rest of your day playing or whatever.
Right.
And that's what it was like for me. And so I think this is, a lot of people out there have this same sort of experience of like, oh, I'm not going to look at that. I'm pushing that aside. I'm not going to look at the pain that I felt from that relationship or that parent or that whatever, that trauma, that event that happened in my life. I'm going to, distraction. And meanwhile, that's just, causing you to, delay something that's inevitably needs to get done if you want to pass the grade and graduate on to the next, level of experience in life.
Right. And there's two ways that you can get yourself to do it. One is you can wait until life just slaps you over the head with it, because if you delay it too long, life has a way of forcing your hand, being like, oh, well, you want a nervous breakdown, you want burnout, you want to, have it all come out when you have a parent die or there's a traumatic injury. People get into car accidents and it unlocks layers and layers of psychological pain for them. And they're like, oh, now I have a broken leg and I feel my childhood is upon me, So like word to the wise, you can actually preemptively just be like, well, I'm going to go ahead and just book in a little time for myself. So whatever I can't control out there, I have a way of like controlled demolition. I'm actually going to get in and do my housekeeping. And I just have to say, it's more fun with friends. It's more fun with community.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've experienced that, like inviting some friends over. I used to feel really overwhelmed with my clothes pile. And I would say to a friend, can you just come sit and talk to me while I like deal with my clothes? And that was enough. It's the same clothes, same room, same amount of time to clean it up. But having somebody there, number one, made me do it because they were coming over for that. And number two, it just made it less lonely. So I want to remind y'all that we have the World Tapping Circle, and that's exactly what it's for. It's for accountability. It puts it on your schedule. We are there holding you, loving you. I am usually the one leading circle, being like, okay, you're familiar with me. This isn't going to be scary. We've done a little bit of it. Let's go a little bit deeper. It's actually going to be fun. And then the result is you have this beautiful new space that was cluttered and clogged and felt shameful and guilty and weird. And now you can do something beautiful. Now there's a space for your creativity. Now there's a space for romantic love that doesn't get all triggery and weird because your childhood isn't overlapping. Your relationship with your mom or your dad isn't really running the show anymore. You can see the person for who they really are and accept that love. And it's just so beautiful when we take the time to take care of ourselves. And I just want to say too that this younger generation, the millennial generation, who I'm a super big fan of, are not going to be doing what their parents did. They have seen what burnout looks like. They have seen what building your life in a certain way and never making time for friends, family, or play, recreation, travel, the joy of life, putting all that off until you retire. And then I'm a little bit too old and I don't really want to go anywhere because I never went anywhere. They're saying, no, I want to do it differently. And so if you're in that generation, this is one of the ways you can do it differently. You don't have to like get hardened and bitter and sour. You can be like, I'm going to take this stuff, deal with it in real time, and keep my inner world fresh and alive and vital and healthy so that it doesn't pull my energy and distract me, so I can be present in these, trips that I want to take. And I can go deep when I go off to do Vipassana retreats. And, I can make love at like a tantric level and I can really open my being. So that's what I'm excited about, is helping this next generation who are coming into the workforce and also being handed the world, being like, okay, you guys, do it differently, learn from our mistakes. And, that's what I want to do, is pay it forward on my way through life, that there is something that is a stable, long lasting, quick, deep, easy way to just keep it moving so that you can stay in the flow.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, shall we parlay into a brief tap here to give those who have never, there's quite a few people I'm sure listening who have never heard you on and don't even necessarily know what tapping is. So maybe quick description, and then we can give them a sample.
Sure. Thank you, Brandon. So EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. It's been on the planet for a little over 25 years. It's been researched in over 20 universities. I have a book here in my hand called The Science Behind Tapping, forward by Joe Dispenza, if you're interested in doing the research on it. But basically, it's a meridian-based self-healing technique, which is really a quick way to deal with PTSD, stress, fear, and trauma. You're going to take your fingers, you're going to tap on the meridians of the body with your fingertips, stimulating the body's natural ability to access and process information. And you're going to talk to yourself while you tap. And what that does is it opens up the file where everything tagged with these feelings, these memories, the same core cause is stored. And as you bring that subject up preemptively, you're going to just be adding empathy and gentle compassion and self-acceptance. And what that does is it cleans up the old pain, because anything that's not processed that's still triggering you in your life means that it hasn't met love yet, which is why, we talk to friends and family about what's been stressing us out, because we're looking for empathy and love, compassion and understanding. But your brain doesn't know the difference whether your friend gave it to you, your boyfriend gave it to you, or you gave it to you. And once you learn how to stream empathy and understanding, acceptance and compassion into your body, and forgiveness, for example, your body will dump all of that excess stuff and call it done. And it won't be coming up in your memory. It won't be triggering you. And it won't be attracting similar events to get you to pay attention to the core original wounds, which is awesome, meaning it frees up your future so you don't have to do so many redos.
Right. Yeah, that's an exciting thing, to clear up new bandwidth for new experiences, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's back to the analogy that you had at the beginning of this conversation, saying, are you going to graduate, right? Are you going to get out of first grade? Well, if you did your assignments. Otherwise, if you haven't, they're just like, well, no problem. We'll just go ahead and start you over again, and you'll have another chance. It's like, oh!
Right.
So, right? So many of us have done this in relationships, for example. You change partners, and this time it'll be different because it was them. And then what you see is that you're attracting a similar dynamic, because a deep part of you is still trying to work out what happened in your own childhood, or whatever set your own relationship experience through watching your parents interact. So these kinds of deep, quick self-healing techniques are very, very important for you to have your own future, and not a series of redos. So what I'm going to do with you now is show you how to do EFT. It's a very flexible and forgiving process. There are these little reset buttons on your acupuncture meridians all over your body. We've developed a sequence to do them. And what's cool is that you listening to this can try it out and see for yourself if you feel any effect. And you'll feel yourself start to process whatever you're focusing this topic on. So we're going to use one or two hands. You can tap if there's 2 points matching, like for the eyebrows, for example, there's 2 on the chest. It's just going to use one hand. I'll call out the points. I'll give you some words to say that will help bring the information up from your subconscious. I'll guide you through how to put some empathy and compassion and self-acceptance there. And you'll literally start feeling that inner housekeeping go to work and clear up that old stuff and give you power. And before we go into it, I just want to say, not only does it make sense so that you don't feel bad, but the power is when you have that inner peace and you have calm, steady, level eyes, it attracts people to you. It attracts opportunity to you. When opportunity comes, you can use tapping to process out the stress of this new thing that you don't know if it's going to work, and keep moving yourself forward. And it actually makes you feel, kind of like a badass. You're just like, yeah, I'm nailing it. I got this. I can do whatever life is handing me. I know that I'm going to get through this. And then you'll find yourself looking around and people will want what you're having. They're going to be like, wow, we want you to be in a leadership position. We love you. We trust you. It really brings coherency into your life, and people pay attention to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we continue, I'd like to take a moment to tell you about our new sponsor, BetterHelp. As you know, we do everything we possibly can on the show to help people shift their perspectives to help them lead a healthy and happy life. That being said, sometimes we really just need someone to talk to directly that can help us navigate whatever challenge we're going through at that time. And if you're at that point in your life currently, BetterHelp makes this process super convenient by connecting you with a professional counselor in a safe and private environment, either on video, phone, or via text chats. BetterHelp has licensed therapists that specialize in almost any scenario you may be struggling with, such as depression, anxiety, grief, trauma, or relationship issues. And if you don't like the counselor you get assigned for any reason, you can request a new one at any time. Best of all, not only is it a convenient option, it's also affordable. And if you use the code POSITIVEHEAD, it's even more affordable because you get 10% off your first month. So if you're hearing this and you get the feeling that one of BetterHelp's 3,000 licensed therapists could help get you to where you want and deserve to be mentally, head over to betterhelp.com/positivehead and be sure to use the discount code POSITIVEHEAD, all one word, to get 10% off your first month. I'm excited. Let's do this.
Okay. So this is just going to be, I want you to pick something that you are fearing or you have a lot of strong feelings about right now, all you listeners, something that's taking up some disk space in you that you can feel as a distraction. Maybe it's a conversation you had in the last week that didn't go well. Maybe it's something that you're not looking forward to doing, but you know you have to do it. Anything that you feel like is taking up some of your internal space. And I just want to show you the power you have in the next 10 or 15 minutes to come back into your center and really blast through. So pick your topic and then evaluate it before we get started from 0 to 10. How much energy is this taking from you? 10 would be like, I'm obsessed, it's 100%. A 1 would be like, it barely registers. I suggest you pick something a 3 or higher. So when I say this issue, that's what you're going to say out loud. Like weeding the garden or whatever it is. Okay? So we're going to take our fingertips, find your collarbones, drop 5 or 6 inches down from your collarbones, and massaging the front of the chest, feeling around for a tender spot in the front of your chest in your upper pectoral region. Give yourself a deep breath. And as we massage right here, I just want to remind you that as you off-gas this stored stress from your nervous system, you're going to feel different things. Some people are going to laugh, cry, yawn, burp, shiver, tingle, sudden realizations. This energy has to go somewhere, so just let yourself be natural and go with it, and don't worry. Okay, massaging the front of the chest, here we go. Repeat after me, even though I have this issue with, and then say what your issue is. And breathe. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping the eyebrows, right at the beginning of the eyebrows, right where your eyebrows start. This issue, say it again. Sliding down your eyebrows to your temples at the edge of the eye socket. Big deep breath. Tapping gently with one or two hands on the temples. And down to the front of the cheeks. When I think about this issue, I feel, and then say the first negative feeling that pops up when you think about this issue. Like, I feel afraid. And breathe. And tapping under the nose, just tuning in again to that feeling. Letting yourself notice where it is in your body as you're tapping under the nose, above the lips. Tapping under the lips, and then let's say it out loud. For example, I feel this fear in my stomach. And say that 3 times. I feel this feeling, and then say where you feel it. And down to the front of the chest. I'm open to loving and accepting myself, even though I feel this stress in the form of, and then say that negative feeling, in my, and say where you feel it in your body. Now tapping down to the front of the rib cage. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping the bottom of the front of the rib cage, right where your ribs jut out the most in front. I give myself permission to see what's underneath this. Big deep breath. Great. Now you're going to tap the side of the ribs, nipple height, side seam of the body. You can cross your arms if you want and tap that way, or you can tap with the back of your knuckles. Just tapping and asking yourself, when did this start? When did this start? Big deep breath, listening for an answer. I'm tapping the inside of the wrist, so turn your palm towards the sky. Tapping the inside of the wrist on your wrist bone, which is on the pinky side of the inside of the wrist. Big deep breath. This started back when, and then just say whenever you think this issue started. And breathe. And see, what we're doing here is we're accessing the memory bank where this information is stored. Now you're going to put your hand like you're going to karate chop something. You're going to tap the top edge at the side of your thumbnail. I'm open to releasing this stress and any unprocessed fears and feelings, including, and then say whatever you think is still there. Maybe you feel anxiety, maybe you feel sadness. Big deep breath and say what's there for you. Tapping the index finger, stair-stepping your way down. Your hand is still in the karate chop position. Tapping the top edge, side of your finger, right at the side of the fingernail. Big deep breath. Middle finger, same place, side of the fingernail. I'm processing these fears and feelings, including, and then say what's there for you. Now you're going to flip around, tapping the bottom edge of the 4th finger, so the edge of the 4th finger that's closest to your little finger, side of the fingernail. I accept any remaining feelings of, and say those same feelings that you were just saying. For example, I accept any remaining feelings of anxiety, fear, sadness, anger. Big deep breath. Now tap the original edge, inside edge of the little finger at the side of the fingernail. I'm open to loving and accepting myself exactly as I am, including these unprocessed feelings of, and then say your list of feelings. Now you're going to tap the bottom of your hand, side of your hand, the same place a karate chop would land. I give myself permission to release any need to continue holding on to this, including a subconscious desire to protect myself, to prove something, to teach myself a lesson, or to punish someone else. Big, deep breath. Okay, tapping the top of the head. I'm open to loving and accepting myself, even if part of me is resistant to releasing this old habit of protecting myself this way. Tapping all over the skull, behind the ears, tapping the back of the skull. We're waking up different parts of our brain. We're stimulating different glands within the brain. Tapping the eyebrows. Big deep breath again. We're going to do one more round. I love and respect myself. If that's too hard to say I'm open to loving and respecting myself. Tapping the temples. I accept the part of me that's used to being this way. Tap the cheeks, front of the cheekbones, and doesn't know any other way to be. So just giving yourself some empathy for the habit of feeling this stress, this fear, this pain, these old shut down feelings. Tapping under the nose. I accept any part of me that's gone numb in an effort to survive. Big deep breath. And tapping under the lips. It's safe for me to defrost and detox. Say that again. It's safe for me to defrost and detox now. Tapping the chest. I'm giving myself permission to forgive myself for holding on and storing these feelings. Tapping down to the front of the ribs for as long as I have. Big deep breath. Just tuning in to yourself to see how long you've been holding on, and just give yourself some compassion. We all do it. Tap the side of the ribs. I allow myself to finally process this stored trauma in my body. Big deep breath. Tapping the inside of the wrist. Switch wrists if you can. Tapping the inside of the wrist on the wrist bone. This stored trauma in the form of, and then say what form that trauma is taking for you. Maybe it's an invasive thought that tells you again and again something ugly about yourself, or something that is an attack thought towards the world or to someone else. Maybe it's a stomach ache or a headache that this trauma is taking. So just tapping the wrist, and let's say it again. I'm releasing the stored trauma about, say your issue, that has been taking the form of, and say what that form is. Big deep breath. And tapping the thumb. We're almost done. It's safe for this to come out of my body. I'm in a safe place. And it's time for me to let this go. Tap the index finger and breathe. Tapping the middle finger. It's natural for me to release this now. I deserve to feel better. Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. It's okay if part of me thinks I don't deserve to feel better. Back to the little finger. It's possible we all deserve to feel better. That I've learned what I need to learn here. Tap the side of the hand. I give myself permission to clear what happened to the origin. Big deep breath, sending compassion and forgiveness. Even if you don't know exactly where or when this started, just feel into it, just sense. Sending compassion and forgiveness to my former version of myself, back to the people that are involved in this. Big deep breath, maybe even back to ancient history. Tapping the top of the head. I'm allowing this to be easy. Tapping the sides of the head, more fun than I imagined. Tapping the eyebrows. Giving myself permission to come back to life. Tapping the temples. Allowing myself to rebalance now. Tap the cheeks. To feel good about myself. Tapping under the nose. To feel courageous and capable. Let's say that again, tapping under the lips. I'm allowing myself to feel courageous and capable. Tapping the chest. I allow myself to gently ease myself forward. Tapping the front of the ribs. I'm getting my energy back. Tap the side of the ribs. Allowing myself to feel positive, connected, and whole. Let's say that one more time, just skipping down to the inside of the wrist. I allow myself to feel positive, connected, and whole. So just take a break there. Notice how you're feeling in your body. I know that I feel a lot more grounded, more centered, more peaceful, more connected to you, more open in my heart, more loving. So notice how you feel about your issue that you brought to this experiment. What number would you rate it at now? Most people are going to notice that number has significantly decreased. Others may be baby stepping it down because this is a new process. Others may feel it suddenly peaked and then started to decrease. I want you to know that you can change your life in an hour. Sitting from the comfort of your home, loving on yourself, somatically getting it into your body with EFT. So I would love to hear some comments from people who have done this tap. You know, we put this out here, Brandon and I put it out, and it's like, well, unless we meet you, we often don't know. It's like, did you try it? I heard from a positive head listener the other day who I met here in Austin, said she listened to one of these and it changed her life. And then she asked me, for a job, and I hired her because she's like been using tapping, but she heard about it here. So I like to post these in our Facebook group, and I'm an active contributor to the group. So I would love to hear if you did this positive head podcast tap, the results of it.
And the group is Positive Heads, Positive Heads with an S. It's a private Facebook group where you can open up and connect with other listeners and give us some feedback if you did indeed enjoy Sonia's incredible tap here today. And I love tapping. It's such a powerful and simple, modality. It's like sometimes we get overcomplicated, thinking things have to be, it's really just, it's back to what we said earlier. You're facing and dealing with the issue, and you're dealing with it in a way that is, actually, you've got the tools to approach it in a way that has proven to cause and generate results. So it's a beautiful thing that you do, and I love that I know you recently connected with Unify and you guys reached thousands and thousands more people. I think that's such an inspiring thing to hear how many people you are reaching in the world with this.
Thank you. We did just launch this project at the beginning of February called 10,000 Tapping. And my goal was to see if we could get 10,000 people to tap and help create a wave of peace for the world on an ongoing basis. So I spent a year building out the World Tapping Circle platform, making it super robust so it can take over 10,000 people, and figuring out all the, back end stuff and getting my team ready. And then we launched it. We got 43,000 people to experiment with EFT.
That's incredible.
And it's just so beautiful. We got love letters from all over the world, from France, from Germany, from Spain, from Switzerland, people saying, oh my gosh, this healed ancestral trauma. My family were survivors of the war, and I had these patterns, and now I understand where they're coming from, and it's clearing, and I want you to know what a difference you made in my life. And we were reading these letters and just weeping, just mind blown.
Wow.
And then we did something that people don't normally do. I do this broadcast every week and say, okay, come to the tapping circle. We will email you. We will text message you. We will remind you. We will hold this space. But when we did this 10,000 tapping project, I decided to record those videos and to make them free for anyone to share. And so there's 7 hours of tapping videos. So if you're curious and you want to see what you can do, there are 7 free hours of tapping videos for you on a page that Brandon and I have together, so that you can sit down and go through the whole 7-day series. And if you like it, come join the World Tapping Circle and let us help you and let us be a part of your self-care, on the regular.
Well, and it's so much free content that you obviously have the World Tapping Circle, which is like there's a monthly subscription, and you join with people live and direct all around the world simultaneously to tap, which of course we all know there's so much powers in numbers. But what I love about what you've done is, you've created like now 7 hours of free content. Plus you've also included a free month for anyone. You guys have heard me talking about it over the last few weeks, where if you text the word mystic to the phone number 22999 to help us on to spread the word about Optimistic when it launches on March 15th, that you get some free goodies. And one of the things that you get is Sonya's has been gracious enough to offer free access to the World Tapping Circle for a month. So not only can you hear the 7 hours of free footage from this past event, but then if you want to then continue live and direct with everyone, you've got a free month, which is normally $27 a month?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and above and beyond that, you get Lee Harris's portal, which Lee is absolutely incredible, intuitive energy guide, and you get entered into a drawing for a free week to come stay here at the Mystic Manor for a retreat immersion. So, yeah, if you guys haven't done that already, we've got 399 people as of this recording who have actually text the word mystic to the phone number 22999. And I imagine, since 20,000 people at least will hear this, we can get some more in there. I'm sure now that you had seen the power of tapping, and you also want to align with the evolution of this podcast, helping to get Positive Head out to the world. Getting Optimistic out to the world. Then really it's just a win-win-win all the way around. Getting all the free goodies, plus all you really do to get the free stuff is share the trailer on social media and like our pages, and we'll send you that once you've texted in. We send you those links. We text them to you on March 15th. So
it's so exciting, Brandon, what you're doing. And I'm a super fan of your work. I got to come out and be a guest on your show. Yeah, I think I'm the grand finale of that first season.
Yes, you are. Absolutely. And it was I loved in all your regalia. You have like the most incredible costumes ever. You look so cool.
It was really fun, and such an honor to be there with you guys and such a good time. So, you guys, I'm super excited for us to tap together and hold this space. Keep supporting Brandon, keep supporting yourself, and open up your community to all the good vibes that you're downloading, because Brandon and I are holding these global spaces for community so that you can hold space in your own home, with your friends, with your family, at work, for your own community. And so when we all turn on our inner light and we become pillars of love and strength and emotional resiliency, the feeling ripples out across the whole planet. And this is how we change the world. We go in to come
Yes.
out.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. And Sonya, as we kind of wind down, for them to actually get access to the free footage of the event you just did, they go to worldtappingcircle.com/positive head. That's where we put that, correct?
That is correct. And there's a lovely little video that I put there to get you all inspired about 10,000 tapping. And just remember that even though the dates on it say that we did it, we made it free forever. So this is also a way that you can give somebody that you love who's struggling. If you do these videos and you're like, oh my gosh, this one was really powerful. I know somebody who needs this, or all of these rocked my world. I know 10 people that need these. This is a way for you to empower your friends, loved ones, coworkers, neighbors, people who are struggling. So, you have the power to keep giving what we're giving you further and further so that we can get this revolution fully lit.
Yes, I'm so into it. I am so into it. Thank you for being such a spark, Sonya. This has been epic as always. Once again, guys, if you want free access to World Tapping Circle, which is the live and direct every Monday night, you actually. Yep, every Monday night. And if you miss one of the weeks, then you get access not only to that week's archives, but all the past archives as well. Correct?
That's right. We have hundreds of videos because I've been broadcasting for going on 6 years. So there's a tap for that night or day, 24 hours a day. And you do get invited to the live stream. But we also send you the replay video if you miss the live stream. So we're constantly trying to figure out how to help you help yourself so that we can help the rest of us and we can all stay healthy and whole.
Beautiful, beautiful. Once again, guys, text Mystic, the word Mystic, to the number 22999, and you can get that free month's access. Well, Sonya, this has been so cool as always. You have a song queued up for us, right?
I do. It's called Here in the Now, and it's a beautiful song. I hope you listen to it on replay like I do, just like on loop. It's a good one.
By Murray Kyle?
Yeah.
Here in the Now by Murray Kyle. Until our next Now, I love you all so much. Thank you once again, Sonya. See you then.
You're welcome.
And if you're feeling the call to come for a week retreat-style Mystic Manor immersion, remember to go now and book your time to speak with me directly about stepping into the optimistic vortex at calendly.com/talk with Brandon while there are still spots left. Otherwise, I look forward to co-creating magic with you at the Mystic Manor.
Here in the now, I am hearing the now as I listen, and I listen to the sound that grows on up from the ground. Can you hear now, in the here and now? Can you hear that the song of the earth should be singing in the cycle, in the circle around with the sound that carries the ancient memory constantly, gracefully, calling us to heal now. Stewards are we from the inner world to the world we see, raising up our voice for unity. Here in the now, I am hearing the now as I listen, and I listen to the sound that grows on up from the ground. Can you hear now, in the here and now? Can you hear that the song of the earth should be singing in the cycle, in the circle in the circle round with the sound that carries the ancient memory constantly, gracefully, calling us to heal now. Stewards are we from the inner world to the world we see, raising up our voice for unity. Here in the now, I am hearing the now as I listen, and I listen to the sound that grows on up from the ground. Can you hear now, in the here and now? Can you hear that the song of the earth should be singing in the cycle, in a circle round with the sound that carries the ancient memory constantly, gracefully, calling us to heal now. Stewards are we from the inner world to the world we see, raising up our voice for unity, raising up our voice for unity. And I listen, 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 and I listen.